Good morning. This is Jason Dean coming live at you again for another Film Fanatic show. Hope everyone's doing good. It is Monday. Is it Monday? It is Monday. I've had a bunch of time off from school and stuff, so I lose track of what day it is pretty quickly. So I hope everyone's doing good. I want to thank again. I did a little shout out, but thank again to a bunch of friends that came out to our last show at Hey Sailor. It was a great time. We played there before about a month ago. We had our album release show there, and that was really great. That was one of the I don't know. It was one of the most fun and kind of memorable gigs I've had in recent time. And so this last show that which we just played was our first show where we just it was just us. A lot of the shows we've been playing this year were us with like other groups or other bands. So a lot of the times we just have like 45-minute set or what have you. So we typically just try to, I don't know, when that happens it's a different mindset because when we have a set or a show where we're playing with other bands, we try to like focus a little bit more maybe on the more dance oriented kind of tunes, but we still like, I think, play our, we'll still play some of our more experimental things and try to mix things up still, but we typically will play more on like the more dance based stuff. But this past weekend we played a show where we played for about 2 hours. We haven't played a show in a while like that, and I like those shows a lot because we can really, I don't know. We got a lot of. I like to think we do, but we got a lot of different kind of colors in our coloring box, or in our in our crayon box as far as sounds and influences. I know for me, lots of big time influences. I'm a big fan of like all kinds of music, so and I find like with Quantum, I can kind of incorporate influences that are not necessarily all electronic music influenced when it comes to music. Like, I listen to a lot of jazz, and I listen to a lot of ambient music, and I listen to a lot of, I really have a deep appreciation for a lot of weird noise music, and so a lot of the other material, I like to think has that acts as like a filter where I can kind of put those influences into the music, and I try to always have melody going on, and I think if the melody's strong, then you can kind of get away with more. So it was a lot of fun, and so there'll be more things happening at some point with Quantum. We do have another show coming up next month, in January. New Year's Eve. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve already, the end of 2024. Crazy times. So we'll see how things go next year. We're definitely living in unprecedented times. So we do have another show coming up in a few weeks. We're going to be doing another show at Opera House Video. Opera House Video, of course, is the only video store that exists in Maine. I can still go there. I still support them. I go there mostly these days to keep my hand on the pulse of like new films that are coming out. That's usually what I do. Because the last few years I've really become a big time collector of movies, so I have a lot of movies that I'm always watching. My collection's grown a lot, and I buy movies a lot more. And I typically buy a lot of older films. I do buy new things, new movies also, but most of the time I'm buying like older films, upgrading my collection from DVD to Blu-ray, those kinds of things. So when I go to Opera House, I'm always seeking out new things. And this year has been a pretty amazing year as far as films and as far as horror films. Really great list of films and things that have been coming out. So today's show this is kind of an impromptu show. I'm kind of changing the tone of what I wanted to do. But I wanted to do, this is going to be, I mean, I did do a show a few months ago. Oh, getting back before I get into this, for Quantum, we're going to be playing a show in January of 2025. It'll be our first show of the new year. And so there'll be some press of that, and you'll see some promotion for the show on Facebook and Instagram and things like that. It'll be in the paper. And so we did a couple of Quantum shows at Opera House Video actually this summer. And it was actually a lot of fun. The second one was actually really, really cool. We kind of did this, it's a we did these daytime shows. We did these like two shows where we played during the day on a Saturday. And because it's a store and it's like a smaller setting, it's a pretty intimate setting. It's not a typical music venue by any means. We basically set up our stuff and we did more of our kind of low key ambient stuff. We still did some of the dancier tracks, but we kind of played a lot more of that more mellow ambient stuff. And so it's a really great setting for that, and it was a lot of fun. So we'll be doing another show there, and so there'll be a bunch of promotion for that coming up here pretty soon. And so we might also be sharing the bill with another group. I'm still figuring that out. How I want to try to do that, and all those things. It's so looking forward to that. And so I did do a show a while ago on the best movies of 2024. But my perspective is always changing. I have seen a few new films since then, and I feel like I've left out a few movies that I need to talk about, and especially since I just saw a couple days ago, I just saw Nosferatu. So, what I decided to do this morning, is to do a show of the best movies I've seen of 2024. Because this year has been kind of awesome. Really surprising. Really, really surprising. It started off, kind of slow, and it was kind of, kind of a slow burn, kind of disappointing. But things really turned up big time. And I was like, wow, this is happening. So there's actually a lot of movies to talk about. So I'm gonna talk about each of these movies. They're not necessarily in a particular order of the movies I'm going to be talking about, but as when I get close to the end of the show, for what it's worth, the last handful of movies I will be talking about, I will try to put it in the order of my favorites. So the last three or four, they were kind of more or less be in order. So again, like I said, surprisingly, I was not thinking it was going to be that great of a year, but it really, really kicked ass. So this will be a fun list to get to and to talk about. So first up, and just to make it clear, some of these movies I do own now. Some I definitely need to buy on Blu-ray. Some of these movies I saw on from renting them, but then also I got to see a good handful of these movies in the theater. Some I was bummed I missed. But first, I watched this again last night. I just got it from first on the list. I just got this from Santa Claus this year. I just did a review of this movie, but I kind of can't get enough of this movie. I think it's one of the best movies of 2024. I think it's, my favorite genre of all time is the slasher genre in the horror exploitation world. And I just bought this. I saw it when it came out on DVD. I really loved it. I watched it a second time over a friend's house. Then I bought it. I got it from Santa Claus, and I watched it. And then last night I watched it again, and it was my first time seeing it on Blu-ray, and I was blown away by the transfer. And that is In a Violent Nature. This movie just totally kicks ass. I think it's the one of the best. I think it's the best modern day slasher film that I've seen in recent years. It's and again, I've done two shows on this movie. I can't recommend this movie enough. It's super fun, oddly relaxing and meditative because it's kind of like this nature film, but set with a set as a slasher film, if that makes any sense. And I think that this movie is one of the best. I think this movie is super fun and engaging, and I just can't get enough of this movie. I can't recommend it enough, and definitely one of the best movies of 2024. I haven't seen it make anyone's list, but I think it really deserves to be on the top of a list somewhere for one of the best slasher movies of this year. And again, it does something really unique. It takes the story, everything, the tropes of what we all know and love about a slasher film. We're all there. It's pretty straightforward. But the thing that's so interesting is the way it's told, the way it's shot, which is so highly original. And as many slasher films as I've seen and that I love and that I own, this one stands out because of that very reason. So this is definitely up there. Came out 2024. Highly recommend it. Another film which I just uploaded to the channel. This is the video I just uploaded about this film that I'm going to talk about right now. Is got to be it's my second video talking about this movie. I saw it. I almost saw it in a theater. Oddly enough, I had a friend who saw it and they did not like it at all. They kind of trashed it. It kind of, I don't know, persuaded me not to go in a theater to not to go to the theater to see it, and I really regret that now because I think it would have been a killer experience to see in the theater because I think it's one of the best movies of the year, and that is Longlegs. Came out this year, 2024, starring the amazing Nicolas Cage, who is my favorite actor of all time. I just love him more and more. He's one of those actors that can be in a movie that, for all intents and purposes, is a turd, but he is so great in it. But luckily, his track record has been so great. Highly suspenseful. It's definitely in the vein of Silence of the Lambs, but it has a supernatural bent to it. Very original, totally atmospheric, creepy as all hell. Nicolas Cage as Longlegs is. I think he should get an Academy Award nomination. The Academy Awards always ignore horror films, but this film is just incredible. I love this movie to death. Highly original. The other thing that I will say about all of these movies that I'm going to be talking about this year, they all have their own voice. Like I think even in the horror genre, there's maybe one or two movies I'm going to be talking about that isn't a horror film. But that being said, all of the movies I'm going to talk about, the thing that I love about them is that they all really stand out. They all are really original, and they all have something unique to say. And this is definitely one of the best movies I think of 2024. I highly recommend it. This Blu-ray transfer is amazing. I've seen this movie about 3 times. I'm gonna probably watch it even another time. Super psyched I bought this movie, but very very cool. Very cool movie. Next up is a movie I just watched last night. I've seen this movie twice. This was one of those cases similar to Longlegs where I was like on the fence about seeing it. I had heard really good things, but then I heard some negative things. But I kicked myself for not seeing it in a theater. And that is Late Night with the Devil. This movie is so original. I'm a huge fan of period pieces, and this is a definitive period piece. Highly original, such a great horror film. It's again, I kind of consider this movie part of the genre that I love the most, the old school '70s horror exploitation world, and this is like kind of a modern take on that to a degree. Super entertaining. It's super goofy. Uh, it has a real gonzo, goofy kind of ending. Really over the top, very '70s, very '80s, but yet it's got some real moving segments where the tone of this film does shift. It goes from pretty serious to kind of comedic, and then it becomes a full on horror movie assault. Very, very cool movie. Combines a lot of different elements. I highly, highly recommend this movie. Visually, it's gorgeous. I saw it first on DVD when it came out, and I was blown away by it. And then I got this from Santa Claus as well, and I just watched it last night. I'm gonna put up a show in a couple days or so where I'm gonna be just talking about this edition because I did a review of just seeing it on DVD. I wish I saw this in the theater. It was playing at the Strand, which is a beautiful theater here in Rockland, Maine, but I did not go see it because of me being kind of on the fence. But awesome movie, totally original, something really unique, super fun too. Very, very cool movie. Definitely one of the best of 2024. The next movie I'm going to talk about, which I've done, this is a movie I don't own. I do want to get it. I do need to get it. I don't have any of the films. It's part of a trilogy, which I'm a huge fan of. I think it's one of the best modern day trilogies in the horror genre, and that is Maxxine. This awesome and stunning conclusion to Ty West's trilogy. The first film being Pearl, which is such an awesome movie, one of the best modern day slasher films to come out. And then Pearl, which came out a year after that, which is another just awesome movie. And then Maxxine, which is the third and the final film in the trilogy. I don't own it. I do need to get it. Maxxine, such a great movie, directed by Ty West, written by Ty West, starring the best actress around, Mia Goth. Mia Goth is my favorite actress working right now. I think she can't do anything wrong. She's just really awesome. Maxine's just great. And to me, the thing I was so blown away by that film, I saw, and I did get a chance to see Maxine in the theater, and I ended up seeing it by myself, but it was so great, and I was so surprised by that movie because it's two parts. Like it's an old school. It takes place in the '80s. It's one of my favorite decades in horror, in the horror genre, and it's like half of it is a slasher film, the other half of it is this like classic Italian giallo film. Really great, really amazing, and yeah, can't recommend it enough. And the entire trilogy is just awesome. So I will definitely need to buy that movie as well as all three movies because I do want to sit down and watch them all together. But tremendous movie, Maxine, one of the best of 2024. The next film on the list is probably the oldest film in this list. I've only seen it once, but I saw it. It came out almost shy of a year ago, but it came out, I think it was in late February or March of this year. And that is Dune 2, the stunning sequel to the amazing film Dune that was directed by one of my favorite directors working today, Denis Villeneuve. He's probably my favorite director overall as far as new modern directors. I got the chance, I've only seen it once, but it is a stunning masterpiece of a film. Dune 2. Dune is my favorite science fiction novel of all time. Denis Villeneuve, as far as I'm concerned, can do no wrong as a director. Visually, it's just absolutely stunning, beautifully written. The entire thing from top to bottom is an experience. I was super excited that I got a chance to see it in the theater because I was really transported to a far off land. Incredible film. I do need to get it on Blu-ray. I have the first one on Blu-ray, and that will be a pretty amazing journey to watch both films back to back. But Dune 2 is just an epic film in every way. It's it's a reason. It's a definitive reason why I love to go to the movies because it truly is a fully immersive experience. And I will say, all of these movies have something in common in regards because in regards to that because I feel like all of these movies have they're all so rich in world building and atmosphere, so they are all meant to be seen on the big screen. But Dune 2 is, I think it's a masterpiece, easily one of the best movies of this year, 2024. I was blown away by it. I liked it even more than the first one. So, yeah, I can't recommend it enough. And that will be at some point a future purchase for me on Blu ray. I have not seen it on Blu ray, I've only seen it on. I actually only saw it in the theater when it came out. So, incredible film, incredible film. Can't say enough good things about it. The next movie I'm going to talk about, I think, is probably one of the biggest surprises for me this year because I had so many mixed things about it, and which I was honestly shocked on how I felt about going into the movie. I wasn't really a fan. I honestly didn't think the trailer really did it all that much justice. I heard a lot of bad things about this film, and I was like, "What? What is going on here? This is wacky. This is crazy." And it got to the point of all of the negative things I heard about it, where it kind of kept me from seeing it for some reason. And then I finally watched it. You know, two good friends of mine said that they saw it finally. We were gonna go see it in the theater, but then I don't know, things changed. We didn't go, and then months went by, and then they eventually saw it, and then they were saying you got to see this movie, like it's really good, and that is Mad Max Furiosa. And I so right after I heard these really good recommendations from a couple of my friends, two close friends that I go to the movies a lot with, I right away got it, and I got it on DVD and Mad Max Furiosa, and I watched it, and I was completely fucking blown away by this movie. I think this movie is a masterpiece. George Miller, of course, the legendary director that he is. This is a stunning movie on all accounts. It is the prequel to Fury Road, Mad Max, one of the greatest action movies of all time. I'm a huge Mad Max fan in general, especially the first two films. They're just incredible, and I love Fury Road so much. And I had heard so many things that this movie was not very good. And I honestly, when I first saw the trailer for it, I thought, because George Miller's known for his action stunts and all of the amazing coordination that goes into all of these amazing set pieces. And I thought that my first reaction to it was I felt like it looked really incredible and amazing. But I thought that it seemed like it was an overabundance of CGI to the point of where it looked too computer generated. And I was really worried about it. But when I finally saw and actually watched the movie, it was perfection. I mean, this movie, Mad Max Furioso, is a masterpiece. I think it's just as good as any of those classic films in the genre, with the exception of the really bad one with Tina Turner, um, which I believe is the third one. Without disregarding that film, but everything else is just immaculate in this collection of films and this franchise. I I honestly think that Furiosa is just as good as Fury Road, if not better. It's beyond epic. Yeah, I own most of the films now on Blu-ray. I still need to get some upgrades. I have Fury Road on Blu-ray. I need to get Furioso on Blu-ray. It's an amazing film. I mean, it really is. And I'm I it just reinforced that idea of like you gotta make up your own mind and you gotta see shit for yourself because this movie was a total bomb in the box office, and I'm like, what? Because Mad Max Fury Road was a legendary movie to see on the big screen, and it did incredibly well. It was a huge phenomenon when that movie came out. It was embraced by so many people. I thought it pleased the fans that have been a fan of that franchise, like myself, for so long, and it just raised the bar even more. But Furioso totally was a turd in the toilet bowl. Like it bombed completely, and I'm just like, I don't get it. Like I don't get it because this movie is incredible. Easily one of the best movies of 2024. Just an astounding feat of a film. Can't recommend it enough. I definitely need to buy it on Blu-ray. I've only seen it once. I When I rented it at Opera House, I believe I got it. I can't remember if I had it on Blu-ray or not, but I need to buy it for my own collection. Incredible, incredible film. Can't recommend it enough. And I honestly, after I watched it, my reaction was like, "What the fuck is wrong with people?" In the last two movies, I'm going to be talking about for this best of 2024 list of best films I've seen this year. It's interesting. I did get a chance to see both of these films on the big screen, and it was just my minds were blown. My mind was blown on how incredible both of these films are. And it shifted for me because I had a very definite number one pick of this year. But after seeing this movie I'm going to talk about, it now all honesty, I think these both of these movies are tied for number one for me. I can't really say they're both so different from each other, but they were both such it wasn't just, I don't know, going to see a movie. It was kind of beyond that. It was an experience. So now both of these last two movies I'm going to talk about, they're both tied for the number one slot, if that makes sense. So Nosferatu, I saw that and I was completely in awe of that movie, and I think I kind of think that movie's a masterpiece. The new Robert Eggers film, I cannot wait to see it. I really want to see it again. I'm really contemplating of seeing it in the theater again. Um, just an incredible film. Just saw it the other day, and I think for me, for my money, it might be my favorite adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula for all intents and purposes. And that's saying a lot because my favorite vampire or Dracula film or at big screen adaptation has always been Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula. That movie's a complete masterpiece. There's so many great Dracula films. I love the vampire genre, but I love really amazing portrayals of Dracula. It's one of my favorite books of all time. After seeing this movie, it's made me so excited about the genre, and especially pertaining to the Prince of Darkness himself. So now I'm like listening to, I'm reading, well, I'm doing it through audiobook, but I'm rereading Bram Stoker's Dracula, and I'm just like enamored by what a masterpiece it is. And I've always loved Frank Langella's 1979's version of Dracula. There's so many great versions of the Dracula character. I grew up watching all of the Hammer films. Of course, those are just amazing, and they're all masterworks. But I have to say, after seeing Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, I think it really takes this deeper dive into that dark universe of what Dracula is. It's I did a big show on seeing it in the theater, and that review has been up for a few days, so check that out. I also did some shows of where I talked about my anticipation to see Nosferatu. It was the most anticipated movie for me this year, and it paid off tenfold. It's and it to me it just dives so much deeper into the whole world of what Dracula is. It's incredibly tragic. It's incredibly dark. It explores death and sex and death at a viewpoint or an angle that we haven't really seen before. It explores all of those taboos, and the writing and the richness of the story is so captivating. And to see it really unfold on the big, to see that completely unfold on the big screen was just mesmerizing. It was an experience. Incredible film. I can't recommend it enough. Robert Eggers is one of my favorite directors. I think right now he's probably the best horror director, even though he definitely incorporates other elements from other films and genres that are not horror specific. I think it all works to him, to his advantage, obviously, because he has so many interesting flavors and influences that he puts in his work. But I think it's a masterpiece. Yeah, just incredible, just an incredible film. And so the movie originally was gonna pick for number one. After seeing Nosferatu, I just thought it's it was such a moving experience. Now it's tied. Now both films are tied. I can't really pick either one. And again, they're so incredibly different from each other. But my original number one pick, which is now tied with Nosferatu, is The Substance, with starring Demi Moore. Just this movie was the only way I can describe it is that it's completely batshit bonkers. Like it's completely strange. It's really funny. It's so original. It's it's got so much. If you're a fan of gore and body horror, I mean, it's next level. It's incredibly bizarre. It's experimental. It's highly emotional. It's disturbing as all hell. It's got so many elements to it, and the thing that's so incredible about The Substance, it stars Demi Moore. It's the role of a lifetime for her. Is just how utterly original this film is. I mean, it's definitely the most original movie I've seen in recent times. And I did a show on The Substance where I did I had seen it, got the chance to see it in the theater, and it was just incredible. And I did a show on that, and yeah, I can't recommend this movie enough. It is definitely a movie that I need to buy on Blu-ray because it's a masterpiece. Probably the best movie of this year, but after seeing Nosferatu, it's really tight. But so I wanted to make a show, and I put together the show. Originally, I wasn't gonna do this because I kind of did a best of 2024 show a while ago, but I've seen newer films some films since that I made that list, and it was really loose. And then I realized there were certain films that I did not that I left out because I just forgot. And especially say I didn't mention Dune 2. So, and then I didn't mention Furiosa. So I wanted to do more of a I guess comprehensive list of the movies because this year has been incredible. So, yeah. So, cheers to 2024. This is the last year, the last probably movie show of this year. So, yeah, so many great movies to check out that have come out, and they're all now, with the exception of Nosferatu, I highly recommend seeing in the theater. They are all available, I believe, now on Blu-ray and 4K. I don't think the Substance yet is available, but amazing, amazing year for all of these amazing films. So thanks again, and cheers to a new year. Peace.